This lesson is about one of the hardest distances in analytic work. A report must be useful to a decision maker, but it cannot become an argument for whatever the decision maker already prefers. If analysis stays too far away, it may be accurate and still fail to answer the real choice. If it moves too close, the analyst may begin selecting evidence, changing tone, or crossing into advocacy. Sherman Kent's enduring question was how analysis could be relevant and independent at the same time. We will make that practical by separating facts, estimates, and recommendations, communicating confidence, and defining where analytic judgment stops.
Kent's career included scholarship, OSS, and the development of the U.S. national estimates tradition. We do not need a biography lesson to understand why he matters. His larger contribution was helping establish analysis as a profession with evidence, argument, probability language, and institutional review. The analyst was not supposed to be a document clerk who merely organized material, or a policy advocate who found support for a preferred course. In modern dissent terms, every judgment should trace to sources, every inference should explain its basis, and every uncertainty should remain visible. The product also has to answer a real decision question. Otherwise, rigorous work may still be unusable.
Consider the first extreme, isolated analysis. The analyst never asks what the business is deciding and collects whatever seems interesting. 20 pages later, the reader still cannot tell how the findings affect proceeding, delaying, or walking away. The other extreme is advocacy. The business already wants the deal and asks, "Can you prove the risk is acceptable?" If the analyst accepts that framing, independence is already in trouble. The right distance does not mean avoiding decision makers. It means understanding their options, deadline, and risk tolerance, then judging the evidence independently. Analysts explain conditions. Decision makers choose action.
Before searching, ask what choice the reader actually faces. What are the options? When is the decision due? Which risks are unacceptable? What facts would genuinely change the choice? Is this company safe? Is too vague and already points toward a desired answer? A better question is, what public evidence indicates delivery, compliance, or leadership risk, and under what conditions should those risks affect the partnership? That framing makes the analysis relevant without dictating the outcome. The report can compare proceeding, adding contract controls, delaying, or walking away. The reader still decides which combination of return and risk is acceptable.
Facts, estimates, and recommendations often get compressed into one sentence, and then the reader cannot see where evidence ends and judgment begins. A court-published 3 contract disputes is a traceable fact. Combined with recent delay notices, these disputes may indicate rising delivery pressure, is an analytic estimate. Add financial and customer verification before signing, is a recommendation. Estimates are not a defect. Analysis requires judgment. The problem is presenting an estimate as a fact, or hiding a value choice inside the judgment. Separate the 3, and the reader can test the reasoning and still choose a different action. Suppose the original report says, "This company is unreliable. Do not work with it." It sounds decisive, but it is almost impossible to review. Start with facts. 3 contract disputes in 6 months, 1 project delay notice, and 2 senior management changes. Then estimate what they mean. The pattern suggests pressure on delivery and management stability, but recent financial and customer-side evidence is missing. The recommendation column can offer options. Perform more checks, add performance protections, reduce the first engagement, or delay. When the final paragraph is rebuilt, the 3 parts remain traceable. The report supports the client without taking over the client's value choice.
The sentence, "This account likely belongs to the executive," can sit on very different evidence. One case may have only a similar avatar. Another may have a company site link, appointment announcement, historical posts, and connections from official accounts. The words around the judgment should not be identical. Confidence tells the reader how much weight to place on the assessment.
It should reflect source quality, independence, coverage, and counter-evidence. This is not fake mathematical precision. It is visible uncertainty. Confidence should also move when new evidence appears.
Imagine a viral image claimed to show an event today. Reverse search finds the same scene in a news report from another country 2 years earlier. If we can identify the earlier publication, matching visual details, and the way the image was cropped, we may write, the image is very likely old material, reused in a new claim. Then we state the basis: earliest appearance, original context, and conflict with the current caption. We also state the limits. Without the original file, photographer confirmation, or local independent reporting, 100% certainty may be unjustified. Update conditions explain what evidence would raise or lower confidence. Company due diligence makes the analyst's boundary very visible. Analysts can assess risk and explain how litigation, penalties, operational anomalies, and leadership changes may affect a partnership. But the final decision also depends on expected return, strategic importance, contract protection, alternatives, and the client's risk appetite. Public evidence alone does not choose among those values. A professional conclusion might say, current evidence indicates elevated delivery risk. If the client proceeds, additional protections and a smaller first phase would reduce exposure. That gives decision boundaries and options. It does not pretend the analyst owns the final choice. Let us rewrite. This company has too many problems. Do not proceed. First, identify the public penalties, disputes, and delay notices with dates and evidence IDs. Next, explain why those events may affect delivery or compliance. Then write the judgment. Based on current public evidence, partnership risk appears above normal, with moderate confidence. Add the limits. Recent financial information and major customer feedback are missing. Finish with options: additional verification, stronger controls, reduced scope, or delay. The reader may disagree with the recommendation and still review every step of the reasoning. Analysts sometimes worry that uncertainty will make them look less useful, so they make the language stronger than the evidence. Too weak clues become clear proof. No record found becomes no risk exists. The report answers only in the direction the reader prefers, or a recommendation is hidden inside the assessment, so that a value choice looks like an objective fact. The fix is not timid writing. It is disciplined writing. Show counter-evidence, limits, role boundaries, and update conditions. Uncertainty does not disappear because the report avoids mentioning it. Analytic independence is often tested most sharply in the delivery meeting, not while the first draft is being written. Suppose a due diligence report says, partnership risk appears elevated, with moderate confidence. The business lead may not ask you to delete a penalty record. The pressure is usually subtler. Remove some limitations, change moderate confidence to high, or move the strongest counter-evidence into an appendix. The facts remain on the page while the judgment slowly moves toward the preferred answer. Do not leave that disagreement as a vague memory that the room had mixed views. Record the sentence in dispute, the evidence on each side, the reason for the confidence difference, and the open question. Separate evidence disputes from policy preferences. Analysts can debate whether the evidence supports elevated risk. How much commercial risk the company is willing to accept belongs to the decision maker. Seniority does not change source quality. A useful dissent record also explains how to move forward. Updated audited figures or confirmation from major customers might narrow the disagreement. Keep the minority view with an owner, evidence IDs, and a review date. If it could materially affect the decision, it belongs in the formal product rather than disappearing into meeting notes.
Before delivery, put the report through 6 questions. Did I answer the decision question or merely display my collection? Are facts, estimates, and recommendations separate? Can major judgments trace to evidence IDs, counter-evidence, and alternative explanations? Does confidence match source quality, independence, and coverage? Are limitations and update conditions visible? The last question is the hardest. Would I write the same conclusion if the reader disliked it? If not, the relationship may already be pulling the analysis away from professional judgment. Keep the decision question at the top of the 3-column table.
That prevents the exercise from becoming another information collection sheet. The fact column records material, source, time, and evidence ID. The judgment column explains support, confidence, counter-evidence, and limits. The recommendation column lists optional actions, conditions, costs, and residual risk. At the bottom, add one line. What new evidence would change this judgment? That turns the report from a sealed answer into a professional product designed to update.
Use a common directive for the exercise. This company is unreliable. Do not work with it. Split it into fact, judgment, and recommendation. The judgment column needs confidence, limits, and at least one alternative explanation. The recommendation column needs at least two options, and the conditions under which each makes sense. Do not pretend that only one answer is possible. The central habit is this: analysis serves decisions, but it should not become packaging for decision preference. Next lesson, we will examine 4 formal intelligence products: current, basic, warning, and estimative intelligence.